welcome to Wine School. I'm Mike. This is Eric. Got Jesse, Jewel with us tonight. We're going to drink some sherry. Woo! Yeah. Tonight's Wine School brought to you by Semi-Random Walks podcast. So check it out on iTunes. Semi-Random Walks. All right. Sherry. Sherry is the most underappreciated wine in the world for two reasons. One, it's Grandma Jessie wine. I mean, no offense, Jessie. It's Grandma Mabel wine. Where, you have the little glass of sherry after dinner. And secondly, in America, we have cooking sherry, which is basically the cheapest, shittiest white wine you can possibly make with caramel color thrown in. And that's what we know as sherry, but it really, truly isn't representative of what sherry is all about. So sherry comes from basically the Jerez region of Spain, although they make it a couple other places quite near there. And it's made from the Palomino grape. And there's two kinds of sherry, generally. And we're going to drink both of them tonight.
Okay.
One is a Fino, that's the white one, and one is an Oloroso. That's the brown one.
Oh, they're strong. Oh, it's like a run.
So sherry is a fortified wine, which means you start with grapes. Grapes have sugar. You put some yeast in there. Yeast eats the sugar.
Just gave me chills. I'm like, still the strong.
I'm sorry, baby. That was my bad. And so the yeast eats the sugar, poops out wine until the alcohol content is high enough, and then the yeast die off. Well, we can trick that by adding extra alcohol to it, and then you end up with a wine that's potentially sweet. So that's one of the things that's unique about sherry. But the more unique thing about sherry is how it's made. So most wines have a vintage, right? 2010, 2005, 1945, whatever. It's a vintage. That's the year that the grapes were grown. Sherry doesn't. We look on these bottles, no vintage. That's because we have no idea what year those grapes were grown in. You can look all you want. I'm telling you it's not on there.
It says 20 years old on this one.
Well, that's a guesstimate of the age. And here's why. The way that they make sherry is they use this system called a solera. So imagine, if you will, like 5 barrels stacked up on top of each other. Mm-hmm. And all of the barrels are filled with wine. And one of the things that they do is they only fill the barrels about 5/6 of the way full. They want some air in the top of all of them so that the wine can oxidize. And what they do is they start at the bottom barrel and they take out about 1/3 of the wine that's in the bottom barrel. And then they take the next barrel and they fill up the bottom one out of that one. And they take this one, they fill the bottom, and then they take this one, they fill that one up, and they take this one and fill that one up. And they take the top one and fill that one up, and then they dump some new wine in the top. So that wine barrel at the bottom, it has molecules of wine from every year since they built the Solera. And some of these Soleras might go back literally 150 years. So you could drink this wine that came out of that, and some molecules in there are 150 years old.
Oh, wow.
And some are 2.
Oh, wow.
Like, you literally have no idea.
So you could be drinking like the best wine of your life.
Exactly. Sherry is ridiculously complex. So then the next question is, okay, what's the difference between the Fino and the Oloroso? And there's a couple of different types of sherries other than this, but these are the two main types. And essentially, one is dry and one is sweet. And what happens is when they fill those barrels up in the Solera, they actually don't stack them on top of each other because they're too heavy and that would just all collapse them. They kind of lay them out. But when they dump the wine in, randomly, there's a certain strain of yeast called flor, F-L-O-R, flor. And the flor grows on top of the barrel, on top of the wine in the barrel. This big, thick carpet. And it looks like this sort of white, like pancake batter, almost, like across the top. And what it does is it seals the wine from the air. and historically, they didn't know why some barrels developed it and some barrels didn't. Now today, we know how to control it, and so we can say which is which. But when the floor covers makes this thick seal over the top, it never oxidizes. And so it's going through the Solera, but it's never oxidizing. It's never turning brown like the Oloroso. The Oloroso, you put it in the barrel, and it just, for whatever reason, doesn't develop that yeast.
Oh, yeah.
And so one of the things about the sherries is they're ridiculously complex, which makes them an awesome food wine. They go well with a lot of different types of food, and there's different styles, right? You know, you have a very light, respectively light style versus a sweeter, heavier style. And then, like I said, there's kind of offshoots of some of these, and you can go up to very thick, syrupy ones to more fruity ones. I don't remember if I mentioned this, but the grape that goes into all this is a grape called Palomino, which is kind of an odd grape. And by itself, it basically, it's boring.
Where's
it makes
it from?
Spain.
Oh, from Spain.
Yep, kind of sort of the lower part of Spain towards the western region, down towards Portugal, right off the Mediterranean. So anyway, so that's sherry, and we've got a Fino, we've got an Oloroso. So let's drink them and see what we think.
Oh.
How's that, Jesse?
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Jesse?
That's wonderful.
It tastes
right?
like old lady perfume.
So there are people who love Fino sherries.
Trying to poison me.
I can't fucking stand them. It tastes like burnt mushroom to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it tastes like.
It tastes like burnt mushroom. It's just not good. I am not a fan of the Finos, but some people love them. And by the way, this is a great pairing wine with like soup, like a cream of mushroom soup. This would be awesome with it.
I don't like mushrooms. I don't like those kinds of mushrooms. You know what? Tomato soup.
But the Oloroso, very, very different.
You're scared.
That's all
I
right.
shouldn't have smelled this before
I
I
know.
drank it.
Ugh. It's like brandy or something.
It's better.
It's wine.
Yeah.
So
No.
you hate this one.
I hate them both.
You hate them both.
This tastes like it should be in a shoe, and that tastes like it should be in an old.
Up to me.
Oh, they're terrible. I hate it.
Welcome to rock and roll wine school.
Welcome to wine school. That's how we roll.
Pancake syrup.
But honestly, sherry is such a polarizing wine in the sense that people either love it or they just despise it.
What kind of people love this?
Right?
The cool people, the cool kids.
So the second one.
the ones
cool
with taste and
to like this.
flair and passion. No, I
Old
think
people, because they lost their sense of taste and smell.
so. For me, the Finos, not a fan of the Finos. The Olorosos, I actually like. I don't know that this particular Oloroso I'm an enormous fan of, but there are ones that I taste and that I think are really, really solid. That just the right blend of sweetness and nuts and.
Yeah, it's definitely that. There's definitely some type of like almond or nut or something in the syrup. Definitely a syrupy taste.
Well, so you got to think about what they did to this wine,
Yeah,
right?
what did they do?
Like what was it?
Well,
What
so
did
think
they
about
do?
so there's two things that are the enemy of wine, and that's heat and oxygen. And so we just basically put this in a barrel and just let the air get to it. It's sort of equivalent to like leaving it out in the backyard for 50 years and sort of like dumping a little bit
That's
from
why
this
it
glass
tastes
into
bad.
that glass. No, it develops a certain flavor profile that. Are you chewing gum? That's why you think it's terrible.
Oh, really?
You're chewing freaking
I'm
gum.
not chewing gum.
Okay, I had a good. Okay, I thought my breath smelled
I
bad.
feel like I'm in sideways.
Okay, I drank a lot of wine. Are you sure you want to touch my gum?
No.
My breath smelled bad, and I just like didn't want to come over here with like wine smelling breath, so I had a piece of gum in my mouth, you know.
But, well, have some sherry. Then you can have
Alright,
sherry
alright.
smelling breath.
Second one's kind of interesting. It's like
The Oloroso,
It's
this actually is not very sweet for an Oloroso.
Yeah.
A lot of times I've had this and they've been a lot sweeter. And it's similar to a port. I think if you can get the right sherry,
I'm having a really hard time with
It's like molasses.
You're just hating this. Both of you guys are just hating
this.
this.
It's like
Molasses and
it's a man's
gasoline.
drink.
That's
It's
what
like
I
a
know.
little gasoline and a
There you
little
go.
Robitussin
Little-
and
I
a little
just
bit
taste
of
syrup.
just maple syrup.
Yeah, like
and
maple
old
syrup.
shoe, and they
Old
like
shoe.
fermented it in an old man's shoe for 50 years. And it's old.
Now, do you have a lot of
Hate it.
experience with old men's shoes?
I
Or
do,
is that what-
actually. I
okay.
do.
Since
I'm
you call,
an
since you
expert.
call that.
I hate it.
And that's sherry.
Woo!
As always,
It's awesome.
as always, we're going out with 30 seconds of craziness, and tonight's craziness is
Loaded in the what?
Thrift.
Thrift.
Dead and buried.
That is-
Enjoy.